You're listening to What She Grows Through, a podcast dedicated to empower and uplift Black women to grow their self worth. I'm your host, Chanel Amir, one of many dope Black women, creating a community for us to pour into and align with one another, uncovering our true feelings from sexuality to self love, to begin growing through life and evolving into our best authentic selves. Let's get started. What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl, Chanel Amir, and welcome back to the latest episode of What She Grows Through, the podcast where we journey together through this thing called life, growing, healing, and becoming the best versions of ourselves as best as we can. It's been a minute since our last episode, and if I'm being real with y'all, I needed this pause. If I'm being even realer, I feel like I need a pause every day, every hour, every minute, probably. But life continues to life in the best and most challenging ways. Today, we're talking about that, reframing this pause and embracing stillness. Now, winter is a time to pause, reflect, and realign. And after connecting with so many people, I feel we are all growing through it right now. Like, life has this way of having this big grand finale towards the end of the year. Like, we always got to go out with a bang, just giving us the last of life's life in. Like, boom, 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 boom. That's how I imagine it. Boom, boom, boom. Oh my God. Oh. That's when everyone wants to get their finances in order. The holidays are here, so it's a lot. And let's be honest, stillness, it isn't always comfortable, and most times it doesn't even seem possible in the moment. For me, I find myself wrestling with the idea like I'm not doing enough. Like, I wasn't moving fast enough. Like, no matter how many bills that I get paid or tasks that I knocked off my never ending to do list, I still felt stillness was linked to my self worth. What I've come to realize is this: stillness isn't idleness or laziness, it's part of this life thing, it's part of the process. And is so needed as we grow through this journey towards wholeness. So, grab your favorite warm drink, like a hot chocolate, a coffee, some tea, whatever you decide. Get cozy, rub your feet together. You know what I'm talking about? And let's dive all the way into this season of reflection and renewal together. All right, so listen to this. Stop numbing your life because you are afraid of yourself. Whew. All right, let's say that again. Stop numbing your life because you are afraid of yourself. Ooh, this came from my girl Brianna Weiss from one of my favorite books, 101 Essays That'll Change the Way You Think. I'm always talking about this book, but sis, like, when I tell you this quote had me in a chokehold, like, I mean, it grabbed me by my edges and wouldn't let go. Like, it made me pause because it's the truth so many of us are running from. How often do we keep ourselves busy? Whether it's, working and grinding nonstop, overcommitting to responsibilities, or scrolling endlessly just to avoid sitting with ourselves. I say these things because I feel it. I feel myself growing in this area. I feel the awareness because I have this sense of anxiety in these moments, and I start getting curious because why is this? And I've been working through it with my therapist, and I've gotten as far as linking it to feeling of being alone. Maybe stillness triggers this in me. Okay, Chanel, let's unpack this. Are you really alone? Maybe in my intimate relationship, yes, maybe. But literally in every other area, I'm not. And I'm at peace. And it was my decision to gain that peace. Okay, so this feeling is actually a good thing. I just have to learn to embrace it for what it is. The truth is, sometimes we have to get hit with these hard truths to gain the clarity that we need to truly see ourselves. Seeing yourself can be scary, but it's also the most freeing and courageous thing that you can do. Growing up, especially in a single parent household, the grind was all I knew. My mom worked two jobs sometimes and still had to come home to cook and make sure that my sister and I was taken care of. And let me tell you, if we forgot to thaw something out before she got home, it was a wrap. But that hustle, that constant motion, that was my blueprint for life. Subconsciously, it taught me that I had to get it out the mud myself too. If I wasn't working hard or juggling multiple things at once, it felt like I was failing or slacking in some way. But now, in this moment, at this age of 33, years of tough lessons, of course, discovering myself through it all and cultivating this beautiful growth in myself, I'm realizing that while that grind taught me resilience, it didn't teach me balance. And balance, sis, is what I've been striving for now. Not just for me, but for my little people. Stillness has become a complete act of self love for me. It's a chance to step back from these nonstop decisions that I have to make constantly as a mom and as a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever, creative, doing these things. It's a time where I can do that reflect, that recharge, and get honest about what's working and what's not. And if I'm being real, it's not easy. When you're used to going and going and surviving and surviving and surviving, sitting in stillness can feel like you're losing momentum. Like I still have this fear that I'm going to end up where I was, you know? You're losing your mind. But I've come to see that stillness is where the magic happens. You gotta grow through it. It's where I get that clarity, where I feel most connected to my purpose, where those, you know, big moments happen, and where I remind myself that I am enough, even when I'm not producing or achieving at that moment. So think about nature in winter. The trees, they lose their leaves. The world quiets down and, animals begin to hibernate. On the surface, it might look like nothing is happening, but beneath it all, nature is preparing for a season of growth and renewal. And that's what we need. That's the beauty of winter. It's a time to pause and reflect and realign ourselves. Beautiful. As a mommy, for me, winter feels like permission to take that step back and just be. To sit with my kids, watch a movie or play a game without worrying about the next big thing on my to-do list. And as a entrepreneur, it's a reminder that creativity, it doesn't always come from that doing. Sometimes it is just simply being, like just like that. And as a creator and a storyteller, winter teaches me that even when things seem quiet, there's so much happening beneath the surface. Stillness doesn't come naturally to a lot of us, especially if you grew up in environments where rest wasn't modeled. I'm used to feeling guilty for slowing down, like I wasn't doing enough. But rest is productive, rest is necessary. In this winter, I will be giving myself permission to rest in ways that feel good for me. Sometimes that looks like journaling, where I can pour out all my thoughts that's swirling around in my head. Other times is sitting quietly with a cup of coffee or tea in my favorite area of my home, in my living room, curled up on my little swivel seat chair thing, overlooking the front porch window with a blanket and just letting myself feel deeply, whether that's joy, frustration, or gratitude. It's a reminder that I don't have to numb myself with busyness. I can feel everything, process it, and let it move through me. All right, sis. So I want you to see the beauty in this season. Winter is an invitation to pause, to reflect, and to reconnect with yourself. This season is the perfect time to ask yourself the questions that will lead to clarity. So let's reflect on that together. So, the first question that I have is, what did I learn about myself this year? Think about the lessons, both the hard ones and the beautiful ones. What are they teaching you about who you are and what you're capable of? What am I letting go of as I move into the new year? Winter is about shedding, just like the trees let go of their leaves. What are you carrying that no longer serves you? And lastly, who am I becoming and how can I nurture her? Let's visualize our future selves, the women that we're growing into. What does she need from you right now to bloom? All right, beautiful. Let's get real. Reflection and stillness sound beautiful in theory, but in practice, it can be overwhelming, especially when life feels like it's been moving at 100 miles per hour. And if you're anything like me, slowing down isn't easy. It can feel like there's just too much to unpack, like too many feelings to sort through, or just not enough time. But the truth, stillness isn't a luxury. I'm trying to instill this in you, beautiful. It's a necessity. Is where we reconnect with ourselves. We gotta refuel. We gotta get ready. I've been learning to embrace stillness in small but meaningful ways. Quiet mornings before the kids wake up, a moment of just some deep breathing before tackling my to do list, or just sitting in my new home, just taking in the fact that I did this. It hasn't been perfect. Sometimes my thoughts still race and I catch myself reaching for distractions, but when I do commit to being still, I find clarity that I didn't even know that I needed. Here are a few things that have been working for me, and I hope that they'll help you too. Sis, there's something so healing about putting pen to paper, writing it all out, the good, the bad, the messy. Journaling is my safe space, my way of untangling my thoughts that swirl in my mind. Sometimes just seeing my feelings laid out in front of me, it gives me that clarity. Even if it's just 5 minutes, take that time to center yourself. You don't have to be perfect at it. Trust me, I'm not. Some days it's just deep breaths and a quick thank you to God for just keeping me grounded. But those moments, they add up. And number three, intentional rest. It's not just about sleep. Sometimes it's about doing those things that replenish your spirit. For me, it's been about creating those moments of peace, whether it's enjoying getting lost in one of my favorite books or simply just being present. These small acts remind me to slow down and recharge. Now, let's take a pause to reflect just another step further. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine your future self. Who is she? What does she look like? How does she carry herself? What does her life feel like? Now, I don't want you to think that this is only just daydreaming, but digging deep and getting clear on who you're growing into. Because this version of you, that's in your heart. She's waiting for you to step into her. Like, oh my goodness, when I think of that, like I get hyped because like I'm trying future Chanel, like I'm trying to be her now. When I did this exercise, I saw a version of myself who was thriving, not just in her business, but in life. She was creating meaningful stories with Chanel Amir Films, raising two amazing human beings who saw their mommy chasing her dreams and showing up as her most authentic self every day. That vision, it gives me that courage to make these bold moves, like stepping away from my commercial cleaning business and fully committing to my passion for storytelling. And it's hard. It's so hard, but every day I'm taking steps to bring her closer. Here's how we can make her real. Grab your journal and write 3 things that your future self has achieved. It could be anything: a business milestone, a personal breakthrough, or even a feeling of peace. Now, step 2 is take one small step. Write down one step that you can take today to move closer to that vision. Maybe it's reaching out to someone in your network. Maybe it's starting a new habit, or maybe it's just simply affirming that you deserve this growth. Whew, so beautiful. Today's episode was about more than just finding stillness, but more on reclaiming the power in your pause. When we slow down and reflect and allow ourselves to just be, we create space for clarity, growth, and intention. And if you're anything like me, that's exactly what this winter season is calling for, like, for sure. I know stillness isn't easy, and for so long I thought rest was something that I had to earn, not something that I deserved. The truth is, we all need moments to recharge and realign, whether that's taking a nap, having a kid free moment, you definitely need that, that's a must, or just sitting in gratitude for how far that we've come. And I'm learning that it's in these quiet moments where the biggest transformations happen. As I close out today, I want to leave you with a challenge. Take some time this week to sit with yourself, reflect on this past year, the lessons, the wins, and the areas where you're still growing. Think about who you want to be as we step into the new year. And most importantly, give yourself permission to rest, reflect, and realign with your purpose. Here's a journal prompt to guide you. What is one thing that I'm proud of from this year? And what is one thing that I will release as I move into the next? Take your time with it, and remember, growth isn't about being perfect, but about progressing. So, sis, I hope this episode spoke to your heart. And I want you to know that you are not alone on this journey. I know I'm not alone. Whether you're navigating motherhood, entrepreneurship, or just figuring out who you are and what you want, I'm right here with you, growing, learning, and dreaming alongside you. Thank you for tuning in, for showing up, and for being a part of this beautiful community. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with another woman who might need just a little reminder to pause and reflect. And don't forget to connect with me on socials. I want to hear your stories and celebrate your growth with you. Until next time, keep thriving, beautiful, keep dreaming, and keep growing through it because we got this, right?